Okay, if you're watching this, I'm on my way to Canada. I'm on my way to Ottawa, but I promised you a story. I know the shirt's too big, but I bought it last year, and it's in memory of, I'm going to pass through Toronto on my way to Ottawa tomorrow. I'm just like running around like with a chicken with my head cut off because I wanted to get some videos up. I wanted to plan for some videos. I wanted to set up an AdSense account for my channel because thank you guys, I've met my requirements now. I did it in 28 days. I'm very proud of that fact. I worked really hard and you guys worked really hard to help me. So thank you. I appreciate all the hard work you guys put into watching my videos because it's because of you that I went over that. That was like an undaunting task to get 240,000 minutes of viewing time, and you guys pulled through. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And as of this morning, I think I had 1,325 subscribers. You only need 1,000. So I'm glad. I know I look really big in this, don't I? It's so comfortable though. But I think it's going to turn into a night shirt. I think I'm going to wear it for like sleeping because it is, I know it's too big. And as you can see, well, you haven't got that far yet, so I don't want to ruin anything. You got to wait. You have to wait to see what I got for my birthday, because I'm giving you a little bit each day. But anyway, I thought I would talk to you about when my family and I went to Florida to Disney World. We did the Land and Sea Cruise. Oh my gosh, if you ever have the money to go to Disney, I don't know if that they do it in Disneyland, but in Disney World, they have the Land and Sea Cruise. And they have their own little private little island that they go to. And then we stopped in the Bahamas for a little bit. It was just an all-around nice cruise. So we did 3 days on land and 4 days at sea. You can do it either way, but we did it that way, and we loved it. It was just really great. So we went to Florida. My mother-in-law had passed away in April of 2005, and she had left us some money. And so Bertie and I decided we wanted to take our families with the money from, we used to call her Grandma Mambo. Jim always called his mother Mambo. So it kind of made it easy for my kids because my mother was Grandma and Jim's mother was Grandma Mambo. And she loved it. She loved being called Grandma Mambo. And his dad, my dad was Grandpa. And his dad liked to be called Buddy because whenever he saw the kids, he'd always go, "Hey, Buddy." And so then when they learned how to talk, they'd go, "Hey, Buddy," back. And so they did. But what was funny is like if we went anywhere like to a fair or something and they'd go, "Hey, Buddy, give me $1." And then he'd give them $1 and they'd think, "Oh, how rude, those kids just going up to that man and just asking, 'Hey, Buddy, give me $1.'" But anyway, that's how we kept them apart. Jim's father passed away in June of 2001 and his mother passed away in April of 2005. So we took the money and we bought the tickets and surprised the kids. So Danny brought his first wife at the time, brought her. He didn't have any kids. And Christy and Aaron came and they didn't have any kids. And Jimmy and Cindy, did Cindy come? Yeah, because Cindy was, yeah. Jimmy and Cindy came, but they only had David. And then Bertie brought her 2 boys and their families. And so we had a really good time. We had a ball. It was really good. Where was I going with this? I'm mixing my stories up. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm mixing my stories up. But anyway, we had a really good time. But back to where I originally was going to go with this was back in 2000, in March of 2000, we went to Disney World. No, that had to have been then. No. Now I gotta think. It was so long ago, in another place, in another time. It was the same time zone though, Eastern Standard Time. No, it was before, yeah, because it was before 9/11. And we had gone to Disney World with the kids, but not the grandkids, because David wasn't born yet. No, I take that back. That was when we went to Disney World. That was when we went to Disney World. But anyway, we had different flights than Bertie. That's why I'm confused. We had different flights than Bertie. And they had terrible storms up in the northern part of the United States. And so to the point that they were closing all the airports. So before we left our hotel, we called up to Detroit to make sure that they were still accepting flights. And they said yes, they were up until 11 o'clock that night, and then they probably were going to rejudge it because of the storm. And so we said, oh, okay. So we packed up all of our stuff and we went to the airport, and the airport was jammed. It was just completely jammed. It was like you couldn't even move because so many flights were canceled and people were trying to rebook flights and go here and go there. And so we stood in this line forever and ever, and we finally get up to the counter, and my family was off to the side. They, you know, I stood in line, and the lady in the counter next to me was yelling at this poor flight attendant like it was her fault that there was storms and that the airports were being closed. She was so brutal to this clerk, and to that clerk's credit, she was very polite with her. I would have smacked her because she was that rude. But I get up to the counter finally, and I get the guy, and he says, you know, thank you for flying American, you know, how can I help you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, we're flying to Detroit. And just then, all the things got canceled, and our flight got canceled. So I said, oh my gosh, our flight got canceled. And he says, yeah, I'm really sorry. And I said, well, I'd like to rebook it, but the problem being is I think there was 8 of us. I'm going to say 8, I don't remember exactly. I says, but there's 8 of us, and we really want to fly together. And I understand that this is probably going to be a problem, but anything you can do to help us, I really appreciate it. We've already checked out of our hotel, so if we have to stay here for the night, we're just going to have to, you know, roll up a blanket on the floor or something. But, you know, I know it's not your fault. You know, you don't control the weather. And he says, well, let me see what I can do. And I said, oh, okay. The whole time, this woman was, I wanted to smack her. I should have smacked her because they couldn't. I should have smacked her because she was so rude to this lady, belittling her to the point that I don't know how the woman kept waiting on her. I would have just called security. But to her credit, she stayed with her. So the guy finally comes back and he says, well, I have good news and I have bad news. And I said, well, what's the good news? He says, the good news is I can get all 8 of you onto a flight in Atlanta, and I can, but I can't, I says, oh, he says, I can get all 8 of you to a flight to Atlanta. And I said, oh, okay, that would be good. He said, but the bad news is 4 of you are going to have to go right now, and you have to pick your 4 fastest runners, because we'd already gone through security. At that time, you went through security when you first came in, not like it is now. And so he says, you need to pick your 4 fastest runners because that flight is leaving in about 15 minutes. And then the other flight is leaving in a half an hour. And you'll have plenty of time to get to that flight. So who are your 4 fastest runners? So we picked up Jim, Jimmy, Danny, and Aaron. And so the 4 of them, like a shot, were running to the other airport, to the other, you know, to the gate. And so then that left the rest of us to get our passes and our tickets and stuff like that. So he gave us our tickets, and he says, well, what's going to happen, he said, I didn't have a chance to tell them, but I'll radio ahead to let the flight, they call them stewardesses then. I'm going to let the stewardess know that someone's going to meet them when they get off the plane. So when they got off the plane, the stewardess met them, told them what flight we were on, and then they got them on a little cart and drove them over to where we were. And then when we landed, they were there waiting for us. But in the meantime, the flight attendant was so nice that he said, this is what I want to do for you because you've been so understanding. When they pick you up, you're going to have to spend the night in Atlanta. But I booked you 3 rooms at the Best Western, and we'll have a shuttle car. It'll take you to the Best Western. And then in the morning, the shuttle will bring you back to the airport. And then he handed me a bunch of coupons, and he said, these are for your dinners because I don't know that you're going to get a shuttle right away when you get in Atlanta. So here's for your dinner for your family. And then this is for your breakfast in the morning. So come back to the airport. You know, I don't know that the Best Western has a breakfast for you, but come back to the airport and eat there. And then in the morning we can rebook your flights. You know, I'll make arrangements that your flights, you know, will rebook your flight. And I said, oh, thank you very much. And so we went and got on the plane. When we landed, the cart was there and they waited and they drove us to the shuttle bus. And, you know, we got a pretty nice room. We spent the night there. Well, we ate before we left. We ate at the airport. We got on the shuttle, went to the room, and it was late. We just went to bed. And then we got up in the morning, we went back to the airport, had our breakfast, went and checked in, and the attendant, when we were checking in, said, oh, I see that they've bumped you up. And I went, bumped me up? And they said, well, the 2 of you, I guess it's you and your husband, are you Jim and Sandy? And I said, yes. Well, we bumped you up to first class, but the rest of your party has to fly coach. And I said, I don't care. as long as I'm in first class, I don't care. So they put us up in first class. So we're sitting down, and I see this belligerent woman sitting in the chair, still mad as hell. And I just assumed they put everybody up. And I was just being polite. I wasn't trying to be nasty or anything. And I asked her, I said, well, where did you guys spend the night last night? And she says, oh yeah, right, very funny. And I go, what are you talking about? And she said, I slept on the floor. Where did you sleep? And I said, well, we slept at the Best Western. And she says, well, I wasn't going to put any money out to go sleep at a hotel. That was just ridiculous. And I said, no, the airline paid for mine. I shouldn't have said that, because then she went right up to the counter and started yelling at the flight attendant then. It was just so bad. So then they seat first class first, because we deserve that special treatment. And so I sat there, and when my kids were coming by, I'd go, keep moving, keep moving. But so when we got home, because I had already got I had got all the people's names, because as I was going along, I was writing people's names down. And when I got back, I wrote a very nice letter to tell them how commendable their people were. I even told the lady, gave the lady credit that I didn't wait on me, because she was waiting for the other lady. And they sent me a nice little letter back and said that the people, I guess they give little stars or commendations or something. She said because of me letting them know that they did get recognition. So I was glad. But, you know, that just shows you, you know, be nice to everybody. You know, I don't care what your job is. You can be like the guy that sweeps the floor in the company, or you can be the head of the company. You still should be treated with respect. And that's what I do. That's how I live my life. I treat people with respect. And if they don't want to treat me back with respect, I just consider them ignorant. I know that's terrible, but you're ignorant. You can't give somebody a little bit of compassion. You just, whatever. Okay, I got things to do. Don't hold me up. I know I got stories to tell. If I can come up with some other stories, I'll tell you later on in the week, but I don't know. I gotta get ready. I gotta pack. See you guys. Oh, subscribe if you're new to my channel. I should say that. Give this video a like. Leave a comment and share. I'm going to try to answer my comments, but I'm going to be on vacation, so I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'm going to be catching up with you, but I definitely will answer your comments when I get back. I'll spend the whole afternoon answering them if I have to, but I will definitely answer your comments.